Good morning. This is Layman Digest. I'm Alistair Hogg, and it is November 6th at 3:49 a.m. Um, and I'm back. So today's video is going to be about um, what this video is. I'm going to talk about my next video that I'm probably going to make and release this weekend. Um, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about my Boston trip, which was so cool. Stay for that. So, um, this is my first real discussion. Okay, we're going to talk about some really cool stuff today. I got just a few things that we're going to talk about. I got a few articles that we're going to read, or I'm going to read them and kind of just tell you what they're about. And this is how I'm going to start my kind of discussion thing. And yeah, so in the advancement of nuclear energy, there are kind of like generations of nuclear technology. And what we're kind of on right now, like any new innovations right now that are not fusion, that are still fission, are called the like, generations. Okay. And right now we're on generation 4. And it was kind of like this. Okay. So there was like this generation 4 international forum that was like created by the U.S. Department of Energy in 2000. And that kind of just, you know, they did a lot of brainstorming. They reached out to a lot of different um, companies and universities, and really any new nuclear reactor developed between 2010 and 2030 is a generation 4 reactor, and they are some really unique ideas. Um, and it's really just like, of course, it's going to be advanced nuclear reactors. Like that's what they're always going to say. It's going to be like the latest and greatest. Well, of course it is. Are they going to make something that's worse than what's made before? So that's not really relevant. I'm going to tell you what they really do. um, and yeah, um, one of their one of the biggest current focuses is a gas cooled fast reactor. Um, these are Of course, they're high temperature reactors. Like, well, of course, these articles say that it's a high temperature reactor. Like, a lot of nuclear reactors are at high temperatures. That's just how it is. But, um, well, it's just gas cooled. That's not a very interesting one. Lead cooled fast reactor. Like, okay, cool, I guess. Um, but what's really interesting is the molten salt reactor, or MSR. Now, these things, they are um, essentially a liquid fluoride salt that has uranium mixed in. And if you know anything about salts in chemistry, they have a really high melting point. I'm not talking about dissolved in water, that's a different story. I'm talking about the solid form of a salt at room temperature. It is really difficult to melt it. So these are like really hot. Um, like this says that they would operate at 700 to 800 degrees Celsius. Yeah, really hot. Um, and so you mix in the uranium, and the salts kind of act as both a coolant, because remember they have a really high melting point, so um, they kind of work as this sort of barrier, I guess. Like they work as a cooling barrier. They work as a safety barrier. Like you don't need control rods, if you know what I mean. So control rods um in a usual nuclear fission plant, you have like your uranium rods, and then you have like control rods that slide in between them, like mechanically. They move in, and they kind of just separate um, the breaking of the nucleus. But this kind of acts as that, so we don't need that anymore. Like it's just a flowing molten thing. Or we're gonna have water on the outside of this thing that boils and turns a turbine. And this is just such a cool nuclear reactor. Like it's so cool. And it looks like interested members have been signed in. Sorry if I say this wrong, but Euratom, France, Russia, Switzerland, Canada, United States, and Australia. China, Japan, and Korea are observers. I don't know what that means. I guess they just are looking at the possibility. I'm not sure. So yeah, um, molten salt reactor. That's something. That is something. Uh, Now there's a different one. It's not MSR. It's called SFR. This is a sodium cooled reactor. So this is like a liquid salt cooled reactor, which is not as cool, of course. But at the same time, like anything with a molten salt, you got to give it some props because that's just cool. That's just cool. So yeah, I think using I think really using anything that has not ever been done before seems to be a good idea. Yeah, it might be a little dangerous, but you know, I think I think in scientific developments, like throwing our the scientific community, throwing themselves into something that has not been done before, usually tends to have a good result. Um, at least somehow. So this is good. This is really good. Really interesting in my opinion. There are a lot of other water cooled reactors that are being made in Generation 4. I've got a website that has roadmaps and different cooling techniques that I'll probably post up here, like this one, which it shows sodium cooled fast reactor, gas cooled fast reactor, lead cooled fast reactor, molten salt reactor, supercritical water cooled reactor, a very high temperature reactor. Yeah, okay. Um, and I have this article. It's called First Liquid Fueled Reactor in America, U.S. firm ready to deploy Gen 4 reactor by 2026. And here's the picture of it. Very cool. Now, where is this? This is at Abilene Christian Academy University, sorry, which is in where? Where is that? Abilene University. Slow internet. Well, this gives me time to drink coffee because I think coffee should be canon in every video. It's not, but it should be. Also, I realize that we've gone way over time, so I'm just going to keep going, but I'd like these videos to be at about 10 minutes. Any minute now. I've got like a wall. I have like two walls. It's like the wall outside then another wall before I get to the router over there. So it's like something going on there. I don't know. Blocks the signal a lot. Well, I'm just gonna pretend that that's in the South because they say ACU, then Texas A&M, University of Texas at Austin, then Georgia Institute of Technology. All of those are in the South, like South. Um, so I'm just going to assume that that is really far away, and I might not ever get to see that. But that would be really cool if I could go down there and see that and show you guys. So that's basically the end of that. I do want to say that, you know, we won't really ever build a fission reactor or do anything with it, like do anything tangibly with it. But we will work on an electrostatic fuser eventually. I'll talk about that. I do plan on actually making one of those for myself. We'll talk about that. Um, but our next video, okay, the next video that I want to record and send out on this weekend is something along the lines of effing around with batteries, and it's exactly what you think. It's messing around with a bunch of batteries, probably like shorting them and blowing them up. Really cool stuff. And I'm going to do some things that I don't usually see a lot of people do. And after I do them, I'm going to research what happened. Um, and from that, you know, I think I'll learn, you'll learn, and maybe if something that hasn't been done before, which I find highly unlikely, but if something has never been done before, people might see it, and that's cool. That's cool. So that's what my next video is about. I just want to do a lot of these tinkering videos, you know what I mean? So my last topic was my Boston trip. You saw that I did a video on a whim right before the trip. It was like the night before, I think, 9ish. And, you know, I think I was a very different person. Like, I think I'm a very different person now that I've done that trip. That was just absolutely just world changing. That was such a cool trip. Boston is really, really nice. People can say all they want about Boston, okay? People can say that the drivers are mean, that they talk like this. I don't mind. I mean, yeah, they do talk like that, and yeah, the drivers are really bad and everything else, but I mean, it was just so cool. So cool. Um, yeah, MIT was very cool. It was a very cool campus. Very cool. Um, and I feel like I have a very refreshed mind. Like I'm ready to take on this one more year until college apps, and this channel is really my journey to that. So yeah, stay with me for the long run, and yeah, see you next time on Layman Digest. Bye bye.